Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into the Purple and Gold Clad Studios, the Skoll marketing team in downtown Hopkins, Minnesota. It is a chilly January day, but that is okay because we are inside, and most importantly, we are back. I am back with Minnesota Vikings legend Chuck Foreman. And Chuck, man, good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a minute,
man. It has. And how's your Christmas, man? Because I haven't talked to you since after January.
We had a great Christmas. Generally during the holiday season, generally there's usually some drama. This year there wasn't, so we had a good Christmas, and just blessed to be around for that. Got great grandkids, great kids, everybody involved. So it was a blessing to have a very special time, with the family and friends. So it was good.
Well, and that's what it's all about at this point, right? I mean, it's family and friends, and before we went on, you were kind of talking with Tyler as he was leaving, and just talking about having family around. But it's good and it's bad, but it's nice to have that sense of camaraderie in today's day and age.
It certainly is, and I'm very blessed to have that. And every time you get one, you can chalk it up and hope for another one.
Yeah. Well, this is the Spin Doctors In,
right?
And it's Chuck Foreman's personal podcast. We did a few. We kind of had to step away for scheduling reasons, but we are back. We are on the Sports Legends USA YouTube channel. So rate, review, subscribe. Let fellow Vikings fans know that hey, Chuck Foreman. If you want to get the scoop from the Spin Doctor, then this is the place to do it. We're going to start out 2026, Chuck. We haven't talked since the end of the season, so I want to get your thoughts. We're going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings, but I know you don't want to get too much into it, but there's a big college football game coming up for you.
Well, it certainly is. Miami's playing for the national championship the first time in quite some time. They're going to be playing against a great Indiana football team, so the University of Miami is going to have to be on their best in every phase of the game. Indiana's a well-coached team. I have every confidence that, we can compete. But, all I'm going to say is I'm looking forward to it on Monday night, and hopefully everybody will come ready to play because it should hopefully be a really good football game.
I don't remember in my time where you look at a game and a program like Miami is looked at as a 7.5 point underdog, and I
that's
thought
okay. That's okay.
I thought the quarterback had a fantastic game winning drive in their semifinal game.
Well, now those are the football people. I don't know how they evaluate teams and talent and all that stuff, but that's okay. It's all right to be 7.5 point underdog. I think Indiana has certainly earned that right, but the way they played, especially about the way they played against Oregon. Now, that Oregon team I saw the other day, it made me think, how did they even get into the playoff?
Yeah,
because that was not the Oregon team that I saw play during the regular season. Now, I don't know if they had a lot of guys that left prior to that game like they do. A lot of programs lose guys, and it's not the same team that got them there. But for whatever reason, that team didn't seem to be prepared or into – they just didn't seem like their heads were in the game. And so Indiana, one probably might be a well-coached team, well-disciplined team. And so they can beat anybody. So if you come there and not ready, that'll happen to you. So hopefully, my alma mater will – I'm sure they watched a lot of film, and they know they better be ready to play, because if not, they'll get beat just like Oregon.
It's weird in today's day and age that we talk about the landscape of college football, and we were talking a little bit as well. There's an All-American safety from University of Minnesota, Coy Parrish, who entered the transfer portal going to Oregon, and there's not the developing of a program anymore. It's almost like NFL free agency where you go to the transfer portal, you get your kids, and you don't have the redshirt freshmen, sophomore, juniors anymore.
But sooner or later, you got to develop players if you want to have a consistent program. I mean, you can go, like in the portal, you get yourself a quarterback. Like for us, we got Cam Ward, and then we went in and got Beck. But what happens to the guys that you recruit? That you recruit as freshmen?
I mean, you recruit them.
When is my time coming? Are you going to continue to go grab a guy out of the portal, or are you going to let me go play? So you got to develop your players too. So now here we are. I mean, we're in the point now where Carson Beck's going to be leaving, and so what do we have to take his place? And then you hear the transfer portal and all that. That's always talk. So it's an interesting way the college football has evolved.
Yeah.
And so, you can recruit, but you seem like you're recruiting the same guy every year to keep him in your program. Otherwise, he's going to leave for someplace else. So I think that's one of the reasons why Nick Saban left. He said, I'm not recruiting the same guy every year. I'm done with that.
Well, it's got to be frustrating too. Like, I mean, as a Miami alum, and just, I mean, somebody that played college football, like, how do you look at this and have respect for these kids who, I mean, I understand it's kind of you're doing whatever it is that you can to provide for yourself, and that's fine. But at what point does the commitment and seeing a process through?
The only thing I know is they've got to reevaluate when a kid makes a commitment. He signs on the dotted line. He gets that money, that NIL money.
Yep.
I mean, like when you signed a contract with the NFL, you dialed into that team until that contract's up. And then I don't know, but in this college football deal, it doesn't matter. You can just go sign, then somebody.
It's a Wild West.
I'll give you another $1 million. Come on over here, and then they out.
Yeah.
So that's got to be. They got to correct a lot of things in that portal thing, and some people are ahead of it. But to me, developing your players, but the thing is, when you develop a player, then somebody offers him money, he goes someplace else.
Yep.
So it's a whole different ball game from that aspect of college football. But if you're going to compete, you got to be able to survive in it. So I'm glad I'm not in it.
Well, let's transition into the Minnesota Vikings, and I just kind of want to get an overarching, maybe just kind of shut the book on this year's version of the Vikings. I want to ask you, what did we learn from this year's version of the Minnesota Vikings? Because in my opinion, I feel like we are in the same position now as we were a year ago with not having any idea where you go forward with the quarterback. And I mean, you go out last offseason, you spend all this money, solidify the offensive line, and you give it to a young kid who you've got all the confidence in the world in, played okay at times. But, I mean, now that the season is done, what did we learn?
Okay, first of all, the NFL is a right-now league. You can't invest in a guy that you think may be a player of the future. That's in and out. The Vikings spent a lot of money on the offensive line, and it was never together 100%. In fact, whatever they do, they're going to have to shore up that offensive line. I don't know whether it's training, whether it's nutrition, whatever it is. They have too many injuries up there. That offensive line was not together maybe 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, if even that.
If that. They had quarterbacks, too, that were on the brink of taking that next step to being exceptional quarterbacks, in which they went on and did this year, except for Daniel Jones got hurt. And Sam Darnold, he's in Seattle going to the playoffs.
The number one team in the NFC.
Number one team in the NFC. So, and my personal thing is the management or the people that made some decisions I thought made the wrong decisions. I think JJ McCarthy has physically a lot of talent, but I think he's immature, inexperienced, and just not ready to play at this level. And so whatever the Vikings do, they're going to have to go get a quarterback. And the other thing is hope. I mean, Brian Flores, he deserves to be a head coach in the league. But if he's not going to be a head coach in the league, the Vikings better do everything they can and give him a boatload of money to stay. because that was the one consistent thing that they had this year, and that was the defense.
Yeah.
And if you got a great defense, you can do some things in this league. The Vikings' problem is offensively, they got to get an offensive line that's going to stay healthy. They got to get a quarterback that they can depend on. They got all the other things in place. And then some of the decisions, well, you know, I think Addison's going to have to sit down and reevaluate.
No, he has got to figure it out. He cannot. He's been in the league 3 years, and he's been arrested 3 times.
3 times, and then okay, the Vikings are here now at the point where his contract's up.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the Vikings, you don't give him the bag right now,
right? The Vikings are going to say, "Why would we give you the bag when we can't depend on you?
Yeah,
you got enormous talent." In fact, he's from my hometown. Heck, he played his high school football on my Chuck Foreman field. So I want the best for him and all that, but hey, wake up, And, I've talked to his mother on several occasions, and great lady and all that, got some concern. Heck, she even moved in with him, up here. So I'm sure she's going to ring him in and make sure he's doing the right thing, no doubt about that. I think the Vikings – I think they should keep him and everything, but I think they need to really, really, or he needs to really understand, hey, it's a privilege to be here. Yeah. And you got talent, but guess what? I can go get some more talent to replace you. Yeah. There was a sign, Bud Grant there used to be a sign in our locker room, and that sign said in big letters, "You can be replaced." With a big,
So do you think there needs to be the quote unquote the come to Jesus meeting?
It's going to have to be at this point, 3 years in the league, and you still making. I don't know what the last arrest was. It doesn't seem like it was a major thing, but the fact of the matter is, he was
arrested and released.
Yeah, his decision making process has got to be better. Because he's a marvelous talent. So, that's on the Vikings and things like that. But I think defensively, the Vikings are in good shape. I like all the guys that they have in place, especially Cashman, Van Ginkel, and then all the other. Those guys.
My wife is a huge Andrew Van Ginkel. For Christmas, I got her an Andrew Van Ginkel jersey, and she loves
to play. And Brian Flores, man, he's got that thing. The thing is, I want him to get a head coaching job, but if he's not getting a head coaching job, we better keep him here as our defensive coordinator, whatever they have to do.
Yeah, I think that Brian Flores, I think you look at all of the openings.
Right.
There's one that came, 2 of them now in the AFC North. Right. I think he'd be a perfect fit for Baltimore with that offense, because that defense is the problem. Lamar's got to stay healthy. And then, Pittsburgh opened up, and I just see a guy like Brian Flores.
Right.
I think he would thrive in a situation like Pittsburgh.
Well, definitely in Baltimore, Pittsburgh. He's going to thrive anywhere he's going to be. But, with that ownership group in Pennsylvania and PA in Pittsburgh, and then in Baltimore, they got a strong ownership group. That's really important. And so, everybody's looking to make that next step. The Vikings got to make that next step. It's you can't keep making these decisions and having all these, making these decisions and not getting the results.
Yeah.
And, and it's like you got to build your team from the inside out. And offensively, we're not there. From the offensive line standpoint, we're not there. Why? They got talent, but hey, you can't make the club in the tub.
What disappoints me about the offensive line is that you had Ryan Kelly, who I think is a really good center. Problem is, 2 more concussions this year, and he's got 6 for his career. And I'm like, as much as I want him to be on the Vikings, and he grades out really well, at what point do you say, man, this isn't worth your long-term health? Because I think he's a young guy at only 32. He's got so much in front of him.
And like I said, there's a lot of things that they're going to have to make some decisions about. And, you sign these guys, and you sign them because they have ability. Mm-hmm. But you got to have a guy that's going to be on the field.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it's the nutrition, the way they're training, or whatever it is, but they got to address all those things as far as, because we need a consistent offensive line, and that's going to make everything else work. I'm not worried about the defense as long as Brian Flores is there, because they're going to come ready to play. So quarterback, obviously, they need to go get one.
So, yeah, I wanna ask you about that. I mean, JJ McCarthy, I still feel there's a future for him, but did the Vikings make a mistake last year in saying, hey, you're our guy with limited passing attempts and not a whole lot of reps?
Right.
Did they make a mistake by just saying, hey, you're our guy and we're going to trust in you, maybe if they didn't have all of the information that Kwesi's saying?
Well, I don't know. I can only say this. I think he's immature and inexperienced. And those two, that combination doesn't work. And he showed it. Does he have ability? You darn right he does. Is he ready? Hell no.
So do you go out and get a guy?
You go out and you get yourself a quarterback, and one that might be, he's got a couple of really good years that can take us to an NFC, championship or something, like a Kirk Cousins or somebody like that can come in and right the ship and give us everything that we need and put the people around him, and then let this guy, if you want to keep him, that is, then let him just sit back and watch. I think it didn't hurt Aaron Rodgers, and it didn't hurt Jordan Love in Green Bay to do that, and it certainly wouldn't hurt him to sit, because he's not ready to be a starting quarterback in this league.
One thing that I think is working for him in terms of the future is he's only 22 years old. And we talk about that. But at the same time, you've got a very small window. And I think I look at what Chicago's doing, and I think that Chicago is doing what the Vikings wanted to do. You got a good young quarterback.
But there is a maturity level. That's a difference.
Between Caleb and
JJ.
When it comes to JJ,
and the leadership part of it is questionable.
Yeah. When it comes to JJ, I want to kind of go to the end of the season, and we know the injuries and the hand injury that he suffered against the New York Giants. I mean, that's going to happen. Things are going to happen, but I guess I want to get your thoughts on what happened week 18. Against Green Bay. Now, Green Bay didn't have anything to play for,
right,
but he comes out in the second half, and his hand is sore because he's got that hairline fracture, but it's not disfigured, not broken, not bleeding. Comes out, is on the sideline. He's got a towel around his hand, and he's out there high-fiving and being involved. I mean, Matthew Stafford and Justin Herbert and some of these other quarterbacks have played with injuries, and I'm not saying that there wasn't any pain, but what are the optics to you when a guy pulls himself out of a game because his hand is sore?
I have no words at this point, except to say that he doesn't understand what it takes to be, from what I'm seeing anyway, judging by that. He doesn't understand what it takes to be the best. That's all I can say. He's not, like I said before, immature, inexperienced. So he needs to sit back and watch a professional do his job.
So do you bring in the competition, or do you bring in somebody I'm
bringing in somebody that can play,
like a Kyler Murray, perhaps?
Who?
I mean, would you like a Kyler Murray if he's available? Or
I don't know that he would be an answer up here or anything like that. Kyler Murray, but I mean, whoever it is, they got to bring somebody in here that can play.
Yeah.
Okay. And if it's Kyler Murray, fine. They'll have to adapt their offense because he's not that big of a guy, but certainly can make things happen. But I don't know who's going to be available out there. The Vikings have to win, and they have to win now. That's it. So
if the quarterback situation doesn't work out, is it Is this on the general manager? Is it on the court? Is it on the head? It's everybody.
It's on everybody. They made the decision. They sat in that room and they looked at the board and they made that choice. So, that's it. But the bottom line is they made the choice. The guy's got talent, but he's not ready. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
You can just, he always shows us some good plays, and he's got a strong arm, and, he's athletic and stuff like that. But all the other things that he needs, it takes time, and he needs to develop.
So let's move on, because you said the defense as well with Brian Flores. The quarterback and Brian Flores, I'm looking at some of the guys that you could look at potentially cutting, like a Hargrave, like a TJ Hawkinson, like an Aaron Jones.
I think Hawkinson and Jones, I'm not cutting.
Not cutting?
No, because they got leadership. Now, if you want to, not give them as many reps, that's one thing. But they stand on my team.
I love TJ Hawkinson. I've been a Hawkinson fan for a long time.
It's like you don't get rid of guys like that. You find a way or a place for them to be an asset to your team. You don't just let them go. And Aaron Jones, when he comes, he's bringing it. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much he weighs, 190, 95, I don't know what it is. But he's got great leadership skills. Heck, they kept C.J. Ham, and he was just a blocker for the most part.
Yeah.
And special teams guy.
So
you don't get rid of. There's some guys you just don't. You just make sure you keep them because they're going to be, the gas for the engine.
It's more than just what they give to you on the field.
Exactly.
It's especially when you're talking about some of these guys need leadership.
When they come in, they're productive.
Yeah.
That's all you don't get rid of guys like that.
Yeah. A couple guys that, 3 guys before we wrap it up. Number one, C.J. Ham may have played his last game. Great fullback, from Duluth, went to Augustana, Minnesota, South Dakota guy. Maybe an unheralded, underrated part of what this team has done over the past decade.
Right. Certainly, you see guys that come in undrafted, local. Mm-hmm. Come in, not only play really good football for you, but great guys off the field, great guys great leadership in the locker room. Those are the kind of guys you need. So yeah, he got 10 years in. That's a lot of time for a fullback in this league. We've had, Aaron Jones, Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Those, CJ retired. And then we've got, what's his name? 22.
Harrison Smith.
Harrison Smith.
Yeah, give me your thoughts on Harrison Smith, Hall of Famer, right?
One of my I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, but certainly, hopefully, he'll get consideration. And I say that because who knows how the Hall of Fame selects.
Yeah, we have no idea.
We don't have any clue how they select people, but does he have the credentials? Yeah. Will he get there? Who knows?
And finally, the last guy left here, went to Pittsburgh, beat in the first round. But Adam Thielen also officially called it a career. I mean, what are your thoughts on Adam Thielen?
Another guy comes in as a free agent out of Mankato State. Had no chance to make the team.
Thank you for saying Mankato State, by the way. I know it's Minnesota State, Mankato, but those of us, it's Mankato State.
Well, anyway, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
anyway.
same here.
He comes out of there, is free agent, has no chance to make the team. Not only does he make the team, he turns out to be one of the an impact player while he was here. Certainly, we've had great wide receivers here and stuff like that. But he found his niche and was certainly productive and has had a great career, So, he's another one. Does he, certainly will be, I think, in the Viking Ring of Honor someday. And I think that's a great accomplishment for a guy that, took advantage and put the work in and made himself an exceptional receiver.
Yeah, an undrafted rookie free agent.
Undrafted, and did the work and got the 13-year career there. So
I remember his very first touchdown was a special teams on a block punt.
Right.
I think it was in Carolina, actually. I looked, and I'm like, yeah, that's Adam Thielen. And it just kind of took off from there. You don't come in and start at the top. Like, you got to work your way up. And that's one thing that Adam Thielen did.
He did all that. A great Minnesota Viking, no doubt about it, and a great career. So he should be very happy with all the accomplishments that he's had. He's not up there with the Randy Mosses and the Ahmad Rashads and the Sammy Whites and people like that, Chris Carters, but, certainly, a really good receiver.
No question. Well, Chuck, man, I appreciate doing this again, and we're going to get into more of a routine. We're going to do this more and more, and, man, I'm looking forward to hearing more stories, man.
Oh, no doubt about it. I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
All right. That's the Spin Doctor, Chuck Foreman. And I'm Chris Tubbs. You can catch us on Spotify, Amazon, Google, wherever you get your podcast, on YouTube as well. Tell your friends the Spin Doctor's in. And until next time, Skol, everybody.